Swadika, good morning and welcome to Newsline. It's Monday today, February the 9th, 2015. I'm Cholapansa Narula. Thank you so much for joining us this morning as the program comes live to you on NBT, Radio Thailand, FM 88 and also on NBT World. And today there are a lot of news happening in the country. Let's begin with Thailand Moves Forward segment. And in Thailand Moves Forward today, Prime Minister Jalal Chan-o-cha is paying an official visit to Japan between February 8th and February 10th, following an invitation from the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Prime Minister Jalal Chan-o-cha's three-day visit to Japan started yesterday morning. Japan is the first democratic country the Thai Prime Minister has visited since he took office. The invitation from Japan indicated a key sign of acceptance and respect for the Thai Prime Minister from one of the world's economic superpowers and the closest Asian ally of the US and the West. Meanwhile, it shows that Japan believes in Thailand's potential support of democracy. The Thai Prime Minister is accompanied by Foreign Affairs Minister General Thanasak Pratimaprakon and Transport Minister Air Chief Marshal Prajin Chantong. During his visit, General Prayut will have a bilateral meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister, Mr. Shinzo Abe. Issues expected to be discussed are economic cooperation, the development of the railway system, the Dawai Special Economic Zone, stimulus of export revenue between the two countries, and the recovery of confidence in Thai politics. Moreover, General Prayut is also scheduled to meet with the Japan-Thailand Parliamentarians Friendship League and Japanese private sector. While in Japan, both sides will witness the signing of two memorandums of understanding. The first one is the Memorandum of Intent on the Development of the Railway System, and the other one is on transnational business promotion in Thailand, Japan, and third countries by JETRO and the Joint Standing Committee on Commerce, Industry, and Banking of the three private institutions. The Thai Prime Minister is expected to travel back to Bangkok on February 10th. The National Legislative Assembly will host the next Five Rivers meeting, the first of which took place last week and was led by the National Council for Peace and Order. The NLA's Vice President, Mr. Surathai Liengbunlerchai, said that the date of the meeting of the NCPO, NLA, National Reform Council, Constitution Drafting Committee and the Cabinet, dubbed the Five Rivers meeting, is yet to be fixed, although it is certain that the event will be hosted by the legislature. Mr. Surathai added that while the venue of the meeting is also to be discussed with all related officers, the NLA will propose that the event take place in the Parliament's main meeting chamber. In related news, he said that the impeachment trial of 38 former senators will be conducted in a manner similar to the cases against former political office holders. He went on to say that the trial is scheduled for February 28th, when all the accusers and the accused will deliver their opening statements, while the entire process is expected to be completed by the end of March. Several ideas have been proposed to suppress corruption and misconducts, including the establishment of a court specialized in corruption cases, improvement of independent agencies, and the encouragement of public participation. The Political Reform Committee of the National Reform Council, along with Thailand Reform Institute, held a seminar to collect public opinions. President of the Anti-Corruption and Misconduct Reform Commission, Pramon Suthiwong, has emphasized aspects concerning anti-corruption mechanisms, which would consist of calling for public participation against corruption, government disclosure of information, and the establishment of funds dedicated to anti-corruption activities. He said that the public should be instilled with morals and ethics, while the justice system should be reformed by establishing a court specialized in corruption matters. Improvements would also need to be made to independent organizations related to anti-corruption and integrate the efforts of the agencies together. A Constitution Drafting Committee has revealed that the Charter drafters will be discussing the election of the Prime Minister under the new Constitution during a retreat at the end of this month. According to CDC member Suchit Bunbongkan, the charter drafters will have a retreat in Chonburi province during February 23rd and 28th, during which the issue of the election of the Prime Minister, as well as members of the Parliament, senators and Cabinet, will be brought up for discussion. However, he maintained that the exact agenda will depend on how much the CDC can complete Part 4 of the draft constitution, which is related to the reform and reconciliation in Thailand. When asked about the reported plan to merge the National Human Rights Commission and the Office of Ombudsman, Mr. Suchit said that such a plan is not about the abolition of either agency, but rather the enhancement of parallel operations of both in a more efficient manner. The Permanent Secretary of Education Ministry on Sunday officiated over the Private Education Day event that presents the preparation of private educational institutions towards the ASEAN community's integration. The Permanent Secretary of Education Ministry, Suthasi Wongsaman, presided over the opening ceremony of the 2015 Private Education Day event under the concept World-Class Private Education, Build the Person and the Nation at Central Lat Phrao Shopping Centre. The event presents achievements and the advancements in education management from private institutions, all of which that meets the international standard requirements. The event, which shows the readiness of private educational institutions towards the integration of ASEAN community, is held in celebration of Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakree Sirinthorn's 60th birthday anniversary, and the event will be held until tomorrow. Health officials have stepped up bird flu prevention measures at border areas following reports of H5N1 infection in neighbouring countries. According to Public Health Ministry's Permanent Secretary Narong Sahamethapat, winter could heighten the risk of the spread of bird flu as it leads to migratory birds fleeing chilly weather to the country. However, there has been no confirmed cases in Thailand at the moment. In addition to the bird migration, Dr. Narong said reports of infection in neighbouring countries were likely to increase the risk of bird flu spread in the kingdom. These factors have prompted the Ministry of Public Health to beef up avian flu preventive measures in border areas, as the transport of animals and the entry of alien workers might open a way for the deadly virus to sneak into the country. Chicken slaughterhouses and sellers have been told to stick to hygienic regulations. They have also been prohibited from selling or butchering sick birds. Meanwhile, the public have been urged to inform health or livestock officials or community leaders of any abnormal death of birds in the neighbourhood as soon as possible, so that experts can identify the cause of their death and come up with proper safety measures. Based on statistics of the World Health Organization, avian flu last year sickened 45 people and killed 17 in 5 countries, including Cambodia, China, Egypt, Indonesia and Vietnam. Since its emergence in 2003, the fatal H5N1 virus has claimed 402 lives in 16 countries altogether. Former Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and members of her administration who face political punishment will have to comply with stricter conditions before taking any overseas trip, and that's according to the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO. NCPO spokesman Colonel Winthai Suwari disclosed that legal enforcers would have to take a longer time to study the request of Ms. Yingluck and other penalized politicians before allowing them to travel outside the country. The National Legislative Assembly has impeached Ms. Yingluck over the controversial rice pledging scheme. The NCPO recently turned down her request to leave for Hong Kong, saying that she had to undergo the legal process after the ruling. Colonel Winthai explained the impeachment involved certain regulations regarding the matter aside from the 5-year political ban. The NCPO spokesperson said permission for indicted politicians to go overseas was possible, but they were to inform the NCPO of the reasons before, as part of the required procedure. The Bank of Thailand has forecast an economic jump in the northeast thanks to the government's economic stimulus policy and investments by private operators. The positive projection is based on the present economic growth during the first quarter of the year, which shows a tendency to continue to the second quarter. The central bank attributed the economic expansion to the region's growing border trade with Laos and Cambodia and the government's attempts to bolster the agricultural sector, which most northeastern people rely on. Although the inflation rate remains at 1.14%, local and foreign operators are still confident in the future of the northeast as witnessed by the Board of Investment's financial support for the construction of numerous superstores, which is scheduled to begin in northeastern provinces in the second quarter. The Bank of Thailand, however, warned the public to be more careful when doing any business activity, as the fast-growing economy in the region had led to the circulation of fake banknotes in border areas. Meanwhile, the Bank of Thailand has reserved 500 billion baht worth of banknotes for the upcoming Chinese New Year celebration, expecting up to 45 billion baht of the notes to be withdrawn during the festival. Bank of Thailand Strategy and Planning Director Saran Thamrongrat said that the reserved amount is 2% higher than that of last year, while predicting that consumers would likely withdraw 175 billion baht 2 weeks prior to the celebration. According to the director, the National Bank has also reserved different types of notes for various spending purposes. The bank has already reserved 500 billion baht worth of banknotes since February the 3rd. And Chinese tourists are traveling to Chiang Mai province to celebrate the Chinese New Year this month. Their trips contribute to an increase in hotel occupancy to almost 100% and an average 10% hike in hotel rates as well. President of the Thai Hotels Association of the Northeastern Region, La'iat Bunsithong, said tourism in Chiang Mai had continued to be lively since the New Year festival. More than 95% of hotel rooms in the province were booked by Thais and foreign tourists during the period of 18 till the 21st of February. Most of the foreign tourists who visit Chiang Mai during the Chinese New Year were, of course, the Chinese people, due to the increasing direct low-fare, low-cost flights from various Chinese provinces to Chiang Mai province. Ms. La'iat added that Chiang Mai's higher popularity amongst tourists had resulted in a 7 to 10% increase in hotel rates since January this year. It was the first time in 2 years that hotels in the province raised their rates. Around 100,000 to 150,000 Chinese tourists are expected to visit Chiang Mai to celebrate the Chinese New Year festival next week. And before we end this segment, we'll take you to the Royal Park Ratchapruk, which is also in Chiang Mai province, where a flower festival is currently underway. Kun Panot Si Sinsap has more.
The Royal Park Ratchapruk, Racha means the king and Pruk means garden. Ratchapruk, the king's garden, is Chiang Mai's grand flower park. The first such display was held between the 1st of November 2006 to 31st January 2007. It was organized by the Royal Thai government through the Department of Agriculture under the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. An international horticultural exposition at the Royal Agricultural Research Center was held to celebrate the 60th anniversary of His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej's accession to the throne and His Majesty's 80th birthday anniversary. It was a great success as more than 3 million visitors, both foreigners and Thais, visited the site. In 2008, the cabinet decided to extend the success of the exposition and to make use of the International Horticultural Exposition area to maximize benefit. It authorized the Highland Research and Development Institute to manage the area from December 11, 2009 as a learning center for botanical agriculture and as a site for agri-tourism and culture at an international level in Thailand. Subsequently, His Majesty the King graciously bestowed the name the Royal Park Ratchapruk on this area on January 23, 2010. The great display is organized on a yearly basis, and the site has become a major attraction for both Thais and foreign tourists. This year is even more amazing than other years as there is now an ASEAN section.
The highlight is the garden from the country, from the ASEAN countries. We will learn like the flowers, the trees, including architectures, also the language as well.
The ASEAN section is divided into pavilions. The decorations are authentic and were imported from the country of origin. This is a great place to study the art of our neighbors within the ASEAN region and beyond. This special attraction is open all year round, but the winter theme will only run until 28th of February 2015, and the flowers and some decorations will then be changed in accordance with the next theme. This beautiful venue is a not to be misplaced if you ever have a chance to come to Chiang Mai. I'm Banot Seasons Up, reporting.
And over the weekend, the 39 Flower Festival was also held in Chiang Mai, which went very well, seeing impressive amounts of both local and international tourists, and of course making the local economy rather bustling. Well, that's it for Thailand Moves Forward. We'll now take a quick break and Newsline will return with the international news. Stay with us.
To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. The sixth core value, maintaining moral integrity, considerateness, generosity, and sharing.
Even if we don't see them, they are amongst us. And they're hungry. Slay your power-sucking monsters. Take their power away. Think when you plug.
NBT World, a 24-hour English language television service operated by the National News Bureau of Thailand, or NNT, is designed to bring the most reliable information about Thailand to the international community. NBT World is available on various platforms, including via C-band set-top boxes, GMMZ Channel 202, PSI Channel 272, and a live stream on thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. You can also follow us on facebook.com/NNT News or download the PRD News EN application on your smartphones. NBT World, a vision of Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. Australian pastor Mithran Chalapa urged Indonesian authorities on Saturday to give a second chance to two convicted drug traffickers who could be executed this month after visiting the duo over the weekend. Mr. Mayuran Sukumaran and Mr. Andrew Chan, the ringleaders of so-called Bali 9, were sentenced to death in 2006 for attempting to smuggle 8 kilograms of heroin to Australia. Their clemency pleas were rejected and they will be executed with another 6 inmates this month. The pastor strongly believes the two men should be given a chance and that these men can still bring some goodness to the young people. Indonesian President Joko Widodo pursues a hardline approach to drug offences and has shown no intention to budging after facing criticism from right-wing activists. Last month, Indonesia executed 6 prisoners by firing squad for drug offences, including 5 foreigners from Brazil, Malawi, the Netherlands, Nigeria and Vietnam. Jordan's Air Force yesterday said its country's jet fighters had carried out 56 air raids in 3 days of intensified bombings targeting a stronghold of Islamic State militants or IS militants in northeast Syria. Jordan launched the bombing raids against the jihadist group's positions in Syria and Iraq on Thursday in response to its brutal killing of a captured Jordanian pilot, military action that it continued on Saturday. There were no words of any new strikes against the militants yesterday, but a squadron of F-16 jet fighters sent by the United Arab Emirates have arrived in Jordan on the day to support the country's airstrikes against Islamic State militants. Jordan has carried out nearly 20% of the total sorties conducted by the US-led coalition against Islamic State in Syria to date. The Air Force indicated Islamic State had suffered heavy losses. Russian President Vladimir Putin said he planned to meet the leaders of Germany, France and Ukraine in Minsk on this coming Wednesday if the sides move closer to an agreement on implementing and unraveling 2014 peace deal for East Ukraine. Previously, officials announced a high-profile phone conversation would take place yesterday among Russian President Vladimir Putin, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and French President François Hollande. The goal is to revive an agreement established last September for a ceasefire that clearly has not panned out. The Russian president, however, showed no sign of softening his stance over the Ukraine crisis. He stated in an interview with a local newspaper that Kyiv must stop its military operation in eastern Ukraine and cease exerting economic pressure on rebel-held regions, warning that it was on a dead-end track fraught with catastrophe. Western leaders and the Ukrainian government accused Russia of providing weapons and training the pro-Russian separatists and sending troops to the border to fight. Russia, meanwhile, has denied the allegations. Things are heating up in Brazil's Rio de Janeiro with less than a week before Carnival celebrations officially kick off there. On Saturday, dozens of pre-Carnival street parties, known as blocos, drew thousands of anxious partygoers into the streets of Rio de Janeiro's neighborhoods at rehearsal block parties. Hundreds turn out for the Beggars Block Party rehearsal in Copacabana. Musicians played live music for revelers who danced through the streets dressed in all sorts of costumes. Carnival celebrations will officially launch after work on this coming Friday night and will run through Tuesday, February 17th, while the main event for many will be at the iconic Samba Drome, where dozens of Samba schools will compete for the Carnival 2015 crown. There will be hundreds of street parties, each with a specific theme around the city every day of the Carnival. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. If you do have any suggestions, you want to write your comments to us, share your thoughts, please feel free to do so. The email address is newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and our news website, that is thainews.prd.go.th/newseng. Ending the program this morning, we'll take you to Chiang Mai province and we'll be seeing how the animals there celebrate the 9th year anniversary of the Chiang Mai Night Safari. I'm Cholapansan Rula from our news team. Have a good one. Swadee ka.